Supporters of this government and those opposed to it, in a sense, agree only on one point, and that simply is that this country has changed beyond recognition these last 8 years. On all other indices and determinations, the left liberal opposition in the country and the right to centrist mainstream in the country differ. The left liberal combine in summary feels the economy has tanked under the Modi government, community relations between Hindus and Muslims are at an all-time low, aggressive Hindutva is mutating the secular landscape of the country, and the security of the country has been compromised by the aggressive transgressions of the Chinese in our territory. What do supporters of the present government feel about this accusatory laundry list? What is their perception of how life in the country has changed in the last 8 years? I cannot sum up their response in a few lines. A more detailed response is called for. And that is the purpose of this episode. But before I do that, a warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis. My name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch our show, press the big red subscriber button on your screen, and subscription is, of course, completely free. Now, I will lay out my arguments with the prescriptive warning that I will not use data to buttress my claims, which every second channel and media outlet seems to be doing, but rather a perceptive insight into how our lives have changed under the Modi dispensation. Let us first talk of wealth creation under the Modi government 1.0 and 2.0. The very fact that I am using a term like wealth creation should tell you the change that has come about in the country. The stigma attached to wealth creation, which has always been a Congress legacy of sorts, has been hopefully buried forever. The creation of wealth, top to bottom, is now a noble pursuit, almost an existential pursuit for every Indian. It is not only Adani who has created more wealth for himself by building ports and airports. Even the man at the bottom of the food chain is living in times when his life has turned for the better by schemes such as Jan Dhan Yojana, direct bank transfers, Ujjwala Yojana, free monthly rations, clean toilets, and the latest, that is an all-out effort to provide clean drinking water in every village in the country. When someone's life turns for the better and there is money to spare in the house and in the bank, then for me, that is a case of incremental wealth creation. And millions of people have seen an upswing in their lives, and the benefit of these schemes convert into wealth creation. For upper middle class people like myself, wealth creation means more options for better services, a more comfortable lifestyle, a stock market that gives good returns, and the quiet confidence that the private sector is delivering and providing good jobs for our children. It also means that when we go abroad, we do not feel ashamed of who we are, but rather we have the confidence to look people in the eye because we have the political and economic confidence and clout of a people who have arrived on the world stage, a community of people who matter. Even that most severe critic of the Modi government, The Economist, agrees that this is India's moment. And especially at a time when the world is recessing thanks to the Ukraine conflict, the India story continues to grow and grow. And that brings me to the second big criticism flung at the Modi government. It stands accused of encouraging rampaging Hindutva and reducing the lot of the Muslim community to second-class citizenry. So, what is the truth in this matter? There is a simple enough explanation for the entire debate and fracas over the CAA legislation, the hijab debate, the Gyan Vyapi mosque issue, and even the earlier cow lynchings. Fact of the matter is that the Hindu community is in the process of reclaiming and rediscovering its historical identity, deliberately caged and sealed by a generation of Marxist thinkers and historians to appease the earlier Congress governments of the day for vote bank politics. In this process of rediscovery of faith and a Hindu identity and exposure, if I may say, of the untenable orthodoxy that prevails in the Muslim community, there might at times have been a few excesses. But this opening up and reclaiming of identity of 80% of the population was a long time in the coming. And no governmental decree or shaming of the people or international outcry by Western groups can prevent it. It is the will of the people, and the sociological change occurring in our society is, in a sense, unstoppable. The need of the hour for all other communities is to accept this shift in Indian society and work around it to harmonize inter-community relations. And that brings me to the third big criticism of the Modi government, that it has compromised territorial integrity to the Chinese. To that, I simply say that in the last few decades, which country in the world has had the guts to marshal more than 50,000 troops, deadly armor, and frontline aircraft and rocketry, the BrahMos divisions, in eyeball-to-eyeball proximity to the Chinese, fell their troops in hand-to-hand physical encounters in the Galwan Valley? Pray, which country has done that so far? Last, we know, in the late 70s, the Vietnamese fought with the Chinese, which they won, by the way. The world has been so spooked by China, and India has exercised that fear by squaring up to them and confronting them to back off. Be it managing the COVID epidemic or creating a gigantic vaccine infrastructure to battle the epidemic, the achievements of this government in the last 8 years have been astonishing, to say the least. But their biggest contribution perhaps has been to break the shackles and the belief that India can only inch forward under one family rule. This government has created an entity called the Confident Indian, who is determined to claim his or her place in the world, and someone who has no need to look back and abide by the failed social experiments of the past. And so on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Do subscribe to us if you like our show. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end.